Okay, here we go. First question I always ask, right down the middle. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be on FinCom?
Well, to be honest, over the years, like I've always been too busy to get involved, really. And when I saw that note, I think it was in the paper, FinCom sort of appealed to me, mainly because like I always wondered, like when going to town meeting, right, I always wondered like, you know, what type of um what type of activity was going on behind the scenes on all these budget items, and all the warrants and things like that. And every time you get up there, it's like, the finance committee, recommends favorable action. Like it's always favorable action, but there's got to be something going on behind the scenes a lot of times, and I always wondered like, why are they taking money out of this fund or why are they taking money out of this fund and how do they manage the budgets, and how do they do the forecasting and things like that. So, you know, that type of stuff always appealed to me, and I don't know, I figured I had some time and maybe the town had a meeting. I was willing to give it a go, see if I can make a contribution.
And what attributes would you bring to the committee? What do you think? A little bragging time here.
Well, like, I don't have a background in finance, as you can see from my resume. I have an MBA, I've managed budgets as it relates to IT. I was an IT guy. I think I'm like logical, like I can apply, strategic thinking to a discipline. I can do spreadsheets and analysis and things like that. So, I'm not even sure exactly what I would be doing, but I think that I'm smart enough that I could figure it out. So like whatever help you guys need, I'd be willing to provide that help.
I just have one more on the usual kickoff here. You don't plan on using this as a stepping stone to some of their elected office, do you?
No.
Yeah, I figured I knew the answer to that. Okay. Now you get into the real stuff with these guys.
So you just on the finance. So I know Tom. I coached his son, and we've been hockey people from a long time ago. Just
Got it.
truth be told. So
There's a game in what, 40 minutes?
Me into like coaching a team for many.
Well, I think you get tired of me doing it and screwing it up, so you decided to help. But but anyway, that's just so I know, Tom. So the finance committee, we are an advisory like wing of the process. So the executive branch, meaning the town administrator and the town accountant, they work to collect all the information from the department heads, and they sort of try to set the stage for all the departments except the schools. The school department on a financial basis answers to the school committee. And then our role is we do our own forecasting and we review the budgets. This 15-member finance committee, and we break it down into subcommittees, and the subcommittees will meet with the department heads either, usually several times and review the budget line by line last year versus this year and try to understand some of the why.
Great.
So we don't produce balance sheets. We don't do income statements. We do more of a budgetary look from an operations perspective / budgetary look at how the department is running, whether they were under or over last year, and what their requests are this year. And say the fire department, they make requests and they work through the town administrator, and then we work with them. And then through a process of these subcommittees, they eventually come back to the finance committee to be voted on. And we either vote in favor of the budget as is, we make a recommendation to change the budget if we feel it's necessary to do so. And then the finance committee votes on it, and we
kick back to them though and say, you need to work on this. And
the subcommittee will usually get into that, yes. And then the subcommittee will put together like a one-page report to the main committee and say, hey, we met and talked about the finance,
so by the time the subcommittee comes to the main finance committee, they've already worked it out with.
Generally speaking, so again, using the fire department as an example, yeah. So the subcommittee would meet with them a couple of times and review their budgets and understand, what their requests are for this year. It's kind of this budget plus or this budget minus. What did you do last year? What are you looking to do this year? And a lot of the pushback can happen at the subcommittee level, but then at the finance committee, then the fire department comes in and the subcommittee reports to us, the broader group, what they found. The fire department, in this case, the chief, would explain the town administrator would explain and support the chief because they're kind of working together. And then they leave. And then later on, towards the end of the process, the finance committee then votes on every budget. And it's at that point and or during that previous meeting that we would push back and there are occasions where the book at town meeting shows recommended by, the town administrator and recommended by finance committee, and the two different numbers. It doesn't happen too often, but it has happened. And so that's a place where we don't agree. And so, that's when we would explain why we have a different number.
But it's all based on the amount of money that's coming in, right? So like you guys have visibility into.
Correct.
whatever
So,
the revenue-
yeah, income and revenue, income side and revenue side, we have that information. We have a elaborate but spreadsheet that we use for forecasting.
Yeah, whatever.
Dan Sherman is the chairperson of the subcommittee for the forecasting committee. And so it's subcommittee, so we look at that. And then town administrator has, and the town accountants have their information through the state required tools, the Munis, and there's a few others that escape me. So yes, we have an understanding of what we think the income's going to be for next year. And we grow the budgets at a certain number in our forecast, and then they come in higher or lower. And as we start seeing them, then we see how our forecast works. In the end, we've been typically using free cash to balance the budget at the end of the year. And what happens with that typically is the free cash is made up through additional revenue that wasn't accounted for, whether it's new business or whether it's.
Right, so that was like $4 million this year. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And so
Then you have some like.
we had
windfall,
interest.
Whatever, yeah, like 1.5 or something.
Yeah, so we had interest on a bond that we took out for the high school, and the bond was not being spent yet, so that was collecting interest. So that was a bit of a windfall.
So do you guys work with
So
like the zoning board of appeals and like that, like, because a lot of the revenue must be tax revenue, right? Like, I don't know if it's all of it or most of it or.
So the revenue is, it's tax based. So it's Victor from the assessor's office, works to set the tax base, the prop 2.5, tax base plus 2.5 or whatever it's decided through town council. Usually he comes before them and they talk about, what.
Does that factor into like new development done in town though, like where your forecast is from a financial perspective?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you say like, we're not gonna make it or whatever, like we need to increase the tax base somehow.
Yeah, so you say you have a $100 million tax and then you had a fair amount of new growth. So this year it's 102 million, that you see, and then Victor works off of that.
Yeah.
And then during the same period, there's more new growth. So you get new growth revenue from building permits and those sorts of things. And then the new growth obviously goes to the tax base. So the tax base is growing outside of just say 2.5, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, we meet, we have a tri-board meeting, so it's the school committee, the finance committee, and the town council will meet actually in two weeks on the 17th. And that's where we all kind of agree on what the revenue numbers will be. So everyone kind of has a shared understanding of what the number will be based on how much we get from the state. We're kind of predicting, but how much we'll get from the state, how much we'll make in taxes, how much we'll make from permits and things like that.
So the departments have visibility into that revenue forecast number so that they can take that into consideration when they formulate their budgets, or do they just like
I believe it's the town administrator that guides
that guides them?
all the department heads except the school.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Usually from the town accountant and team here, they're getting the figures from the state and the cherry sheet, and they're doing, they go to the MMA meetings and various things where they start hearing about potential, ins and outs. And so that's where that comes from. We work sort of side by side in that regard. And again, we're a committee, we're an advisory committee. We don't have veto power and things like that.
No.
The town council is the one that approves the budgets as well, for the process.
But like the finance committee says, Houston, we have a problem or whatever,
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so one of the questions I was going to ask was about finance committee and its role in government, but you asked those questions, and I think we sort of already answered some of that.
Okay.
One of the things the finance committee has, it isn't excessively time consuming. I always defer, the town council is way more demanding, in my opinion, than the finance committee. The finance committee gets busy right after the first of the year. We meet about every 2 weeks,
Mhm.
right up through spring town meeting. Doesn't mean you can't miss a meeting or whatever, but I always ask the applicants if, you understand the commitment, you want to be able to make that commitment. And, it's a Zoom hybrid meeting. It's gotten a little easier over the years, but I prefer face to face and we meet
I mean,
face to face.
it'd be easy just to come in, to be honest.
Yep. When it comes to town budgets, I know you give a little bit of background. Do you have an interest in a particular portion of the town budget? Like, like I mentioned, there are these subcommittees.
I mean, I would reserve judgment on that
Mhm.
until I got a chance to, I mean,
Mhm.
like I'd be the low man on the totem pole, right? I figured like you guys would assign me wherever you thought I could
Yeah.
possibly help. And then, over time, then maybe I would have a different perspective on that. But right now, no.
Very good. Yeah, and in the finance committee, I ask who, if you have any preferences for subcommittees. And then I do start trying to move things around, in particular with new people. What's their background? Where does their background fit in with the some of the components, and you get placed on some of those subcommittees. So anyway,
Yeah, whatever you need.
appreciate it. And you talked about town meeting. You go to town meeting occasionally, or I don't know.
I would say I go whenever there's something
Big and exciting.
of interest. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
But, I've been going more frequently recently because it seems like there's a lot.
There has been. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be plenty of good seats on Saturday morning. Plenty of good seats.
See that.
And really, I think I explained it, but that's sort of the finance committee's role is to review, on behalf of the body, meaning town meeting. We review it on the behalf of town meeting. We report basically to town meeting. When I say that it's, favorable action, as you say eloquently, actually, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, but I just stand up and say that, 14 times at a meeting. And
I've never heard anything but that. Like,
Yeah.
everything is all,
I think once in my 4 or 5 year tenure, that might have happened.
yeah.
The school committee?
Yeah.
Go in there, we were
Yeah.
on a whack, actually.
Yeah, we were.
We were on a whack.
But the intent isn't to just all kumbaya and agree. The intent is to work through it and work it out.
Well, yeah,
It's a position that you guys didn't support. You've done more than
Yeah.
a couple. I think
yeah.
there was a position here that you guys didn't
Oh,
support. and
position, yeah,
We
yeah.
still
yeah.
got it.
Yeah,
So
which was a
there's-
budget, another budgetary item. Yeah, you're right.
You've had some we don't recommend, so.
Yeah.
There's been some, not a lot.
I figure like a lot of that happened behind the scenes. And by the time you get to town meeting, like everybody's kind of worked out the details and,
That's the objective.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not,
Because
it's
we're kind of
not,
if like, you got there and then said like, yeah, we don't recommend favorable action. I mean, that, as it is, you get a lot of pushback on.
Yeah. Was
correct.
it 3 years ago, the school budget? 3 years ago? It was
I don't know if it was,
Like 6 or 7.
it was a while
while
back.
ago.
It was a
Yeah.
while back.
Since 6 or 7. It was a long time ago.
Oh,
But anyway, that's a little background, I think, on the finance committee side of it, so.
Tom, are you currently at Verizon?
No, I
Okay.
retired last year.
Okay, awesome. We usually ask because sometimes employers don't want people to serve in town, so. That's good to know. And then you coach hockey. You haven't served on any other boards in town, have you? No. Awesome. So how long have you lived in Wakefield?
So I grew up in Stoneham originally, but I spent a ton of time in Wakefield, even when I was living in Stoneham, right? I sailed down Lake Quannapowitt.
Uh-huh.
I played softball events for like 100 years. I moved to Wakefield, I think, in 1997 or 8. So I've been here since then.
Where in Stoneham did you grow up?
I grew up on Erickson Street, which is off of North Street,
Oh, yeah.
like the 99 is.
Yeah.
Been out there and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sister lives off of Franklin,
Okay.
like kind of near the high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lived over there for a while too when I
Yeah.
first moved out. Yeah.
So what do you think are some of the greatest strengths that we have in Wakefield?
the lake.
The lake. I mean, the lake,
Sorry.
yeah, I mean, the lake, but I mean, it's a nice community, I mean, it's like safe. It's got a lot to, like the lake, obviously, I would say it's not overdeveloped, but I'm not sure that
It wasn't,
I'll be
right?
able to say that
Yeah.
so longer. But I mean, I think it's a nice community. I think they do a lot for the people here. They do a lot for the kids.
Yeah.
But it's clean. It's like safe,
Yeah. Have you had any concerns with town services?
Really?
No.
Well, I wish they would repave my road.
That's usually a complaint we get.
Side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
road.
It's on the list.
Yeah.
Where is it? Morningside, I can't
It's,
picture.
um,
Sorry.
So if you're going up the hill towards Stoneham from the lake,
Oh, yeah,
like off Prospect Street,
Yeah.
right before you get to the big house on the top of the hill.
the mansion
left.
there, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a left right before there, so on the
Mhm.
west side over there.
Okay.
But no, I mean, the town, the town's good.
Yeah.
You don't have any complaints really.
Yeah. What day of the week are your meetings normally?
Normally they are Thursdays.
Thursdays. And you wouldn't have a concern every other week.
No.
Thursdays, kind of 7 to 9-ish probably is when you meet.
Yeah, we moved it to 6.
Okay.
It's
Oh.
challenging for the working folk, but
Yeah.
better for some of the town
Yeah.
folk. Yeah, so we go from 6, use 2 hours, approximately 2 hours, right? Yep.
Any questions for us?
Not really. I mean, I kind of know what I'm getting into relatively,
Yeah. It's a fun group.
not unless you made it a paid position recently and I don't know about it.
Why do you think I'm still on it?
We had somebody come in. First question was how much was the pay?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, my God. They were also kind of. It's an interesting candidate anyway, so it made for a. No, that's not.
I mean,
All right,
I just looking at it like a learning experience to learn a little bit more about how things operate behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it pays the same that a town councilor in town makes. So big bucks.
Yeah.
will I get a parking spot?
I don't even get a parking spot. I don't even get a key to this building
Yeah.
8 years later.
Glad we get in. But that's why I get on the finance committee too, the same reason to learn a little bit more about behind the scenes and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to know, like,
Mhm.
how a town actually runs and like how the money comes in and like when they have to raise bonds to like for schools and how do like one of the big things that I don't know if it's a concern, but like I always wondered about, like you always have these temporary tax increases and stuff, like we're gonna build a school, we're gonna build a high school, we're gonna build, replace the Galvin,
Mhm.
we're gonna have like a temporary assessment or whatever,
Mhm.
like
Right.
I worry about like the older people in town, because like I look at my mother's situation, she lives in Stoneham, right? And she's been fortunate, but a lot of people, potentially like, they're on fixed incomes, the tax rates keep going up, they got no way to recoup that, like I always wonder like what kind of consideration is being given to those types of things,
Mhm.
when you guys are like budgeting or forecasting or doing things like that. And I know there was something that somebody was talking about on the last meeting about like the senior circuit breaker tax credit and like
Circuit breaker
being,
credit, yeah.
trying to help people out
Yeah, Victor
and
was
things
talking
like that.
about
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the type of stuff that, I don't know that I worry about it, but like I'm kind of interested in like what type of conversations happening behind the scenes to take care. Cause like I've been on the other side too, like, like a young parent with a kid in town, the Galvin stinks and like we got to replace the Galvin. Like
Yeah.
I don't care how much it costs and all of that. But, as you kind of transition through life.
We're not quite there like we used to be, Tom, right?
No,
We're on the other side.
Yeah, we're on the other side now and like you look at it from like, yeah, I can see what those people were talking about.
We definitely have conversations, Stoneham, your mom has a vote on December 9th
Yeah.
about an override in Stoneham. They're going to try again over there.
Library.
Yeah, and Melrose just passed it. I think we've been really lucky in our town that we've figured out ways not to do it. And each time when we've built something new, we've really considered seniors and
Yeah.
come up with ways of helping seniors that need help. It is something I think we talk about.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. It's a difficult discussion.
Yeah, like that's the only really financial thing that I think about, like,
yeah,
other than that, like, I think the town does a pretty good job, man. I think Steve Mayo was a pretty good town manager.
Good.
Like I know John McCarthy was
Mhm.
The treasurer. So I used to talk to him about how things were going, so I always thought it was pretty good the way things were run.
Yeah, and lastly, I'd say, the committee is 15 people, so it's an interesting group. There's a lot of diversity from backgrounds
Yeah.
and such, and people need to be willing, and most are to try to speak up and do the homework. The homework's the key.
Right.
When it comes to being on the subcommittees and the committees. So,
Well, I've got plenty of time now.
yes.
Yeah, the FinCom's a good group. I've been doing this for I don't know how long. When I first came in, could walk in and blow the dust off someone. It was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it was, so anyway, okay, let me tell you, I gotta be honest with you. The 4 incumbents are coming back. It's rare that somebody gets bounced. But we have to do the interviews, and here's the other thing too. I mean, we have to take a vote, but yeah, that's okay. We have to take a vote. But I want to be upfront because usually if we already know who somebody is and something happens, you're sitting. You know what I mean? No, so that's usually just not to.
I'm not sure I follow all this, but
It doesn't look like there's gonna be any openings for this upcoming
Right.
term.
okay.
Right.
But
Right.
To be realistic, like I coached basketball. I coached the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teams 3 years. And when you used to have to cut kids, it was the worst day of my life. And I'd have to call people. But what happens is I'd always say to somebody, now that if there's an opening, you're sitting right there. So,
Okay,
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah, I just wanted to be, sort of.
No, it's good.
Yeah, like I say, somebody rolls, it's
It
a
happens all the
third,
time.
a third every year.
People have continuously been leaving.
Yeah.
They move, or it's a big commitment, so
And it can happen during the year, sorry.
so we
Yeah.
just kind of do the interviews all at once. And then
Yeah.
it's easier not to have to re-interview later and
Right,
schedule.
Exactly. Somebody would walk out of the blue and say, hey, I can't do this anymore, but so boom, we're set to move. Set.
All right, well, we'll buy that vacation home then on the lake. Shit.
Not yet,
Yeah.
not with the pay that you could have made on the finance committee.
Yeah, Stoneham is having some. We have all the moderators in the state have this challenge. Gene Craigie is on it like every day now, leading up to this.
Yeah, my wife works for Mystic Valley Elder Services, so she does a lot of work with the Stoneham Senior Center and stuff. And
Mhm.
she was over there, and the people were like, they're gonna close the senior center. I'm like, no, they're not.
Yeah,
So she was the other, they can't. Can they?
Yeah, right.
If they could, but
Yeah.
I don't think you can. A senior center is like half funded through like the state, but they could probably like cut staff and make it like you don't really want to go.
then they're talking about like closing the library, which that seems crazy too, but
yeah,
I guess.
it
seems like when it comes to stuff like that, the most pain is the first thing talked about.
Yeah, well, I think they try to make it painful, right? They want it to be painful.
Yeah, we want people to pass the for the extra money.
Well, they wanted it.
Not everybody,
I
but
thought they wanted-
that sometimes happens.
So I have a friend, he was telling me that they were trying to get like a big amount. I forget what it was, but I think they're coming back and they're asking for a smaller amount now.
Yeah, it failed.
The smaller one did
I
too.
think the big one failed last year.
The big one failed.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're asking for less this year. I haven't even looked at it,
Yeah.
but the Globe just did a story about it. I didn't.
Did they vote on it just like this past week or something?
Melrose did. Stoneham's December 9th.
Something I knew was coming up.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right.
All right, cool.
Thanks for coming
Great.
in.
You're welcome.
Great seeing you.
Yes, nice seeing you.
All right.
These
So
meals,
I got one of those little Jesuit suites on the corner.
what's that?
I got one of those Jesuit suites, the old
He-
Jesuit.
He's the Holy
suites.
Cross guy. If you
Holy
hadn't figured
Cross.
that.
I was going to talk to you about Northeastern. I work there now, but
Oh,
at the
do you?
law school, not at the B school.
Oh, you know what? I went,
You in Burlington where I
I
went?
went to the Burlington camp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I got my MBA too. It was up
I
there.
love that they have
Oh,
that.
I took one course on the Boston campus. It was
I think I did 2 on campus.
managing a professional sports franchise,
Huh?
and it was taught by Patrick Sullivan when he owned the Patriots. at
Oh,
the time.
geez.
That was the best course because he took us down to Schaefer Stadium at the time.
Yeah.
And I forget who was the general manager? Whoever it was right before the draft, and they had the draft room set up, and like the sticky things on the board,
Hmm.
and they had the whole draft board set up and everything, and you
Wow.
up into the school. Yeah. It was like that was the best course I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love my time at Northeastern. That was a lot of work.
That's
That was
cool.
great.
The Holy Cross, they built all new, did you see what they did? You know, with the, if you go up,
Oh, yeah. My reunion, I just was there.
oh, you were there, did you see all those like townhouses? They
Yeah, those are pretty
Nice.
cool. Yeah,
I wish they had that.
yeah. My son lived in Lehigh, and then he went and lived on Carroll Street, you know,
Yeah,
I don't know.
my daughter lived in, she was there during COVID. And they made them all go remote.
Oh, really?
Yep. She ended up moving into downtown Worcester, right? Because a bunch of her friends were there. And they basically shut the school for a year.
Yeah.
They didn't give you a break on the tuition,
No.
No,
no,
of course not.
but
Yeah.
you know, but you know, it's a nice school.
It was nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So,
Great seeing you
so
again, Tom.
nice seeing you.
That's
Say hi to
Garrett
Nice to meet
Murphy
you
out there.
too.
You can
How's
send-
Justin
Send him in.
Great,
What's he
great.
up to?
He's in Boston. He's working for a company, a public relations firm, went to Providence College. Yeah. Your son, how's that?
He's
I knew he was doing something.
Bill Carroll, nice to meet you.
Garrett, nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Jim Sullivan, Finance Committee Chair.
Garrett, nice to meet you.
Hi, Miriam Bottom Chair of the Town Council.
Nice to meet
I
you.
just had the wrong school.
Where did you think I
I
was?
don't know why I thought. I don't know why.
Anne's at Suffolk and
Yeah.
Danny He's at BU, but I'm at Northeastern.
I thought why I thought you were. I mean, I knew you were in school. Hi, sorry.
Sorry.
No problem.
Finish up a conversation.
Yeah.
Just so you know, this is recorded.
Okay.
So don't say anything you don't want out there, which I
Can't
told
imagine
him,
the
I
end
told
of
Bill
the
that as well.
It's me, but I don't pay attention to that.
So we have a couple of questions for you just to learn more about you.
Sure.
And then save some time for you to ask us questions.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Bill will kick it
I'm
off.
the town moderator. I'm always sort of the constant on this committee. And so I always start off with this hard hitting question. Why do you want to be on FinCom?
Yeah. So I've been in Wakefield for about 3.5 years. Married. I have 2 daughters, one on the way. So we found our forever home. We're heavily vested in Wakefield's future. I've always had a passion for accounting and budgeting, forecasting, tax, numbers. So I joined the capital planning committee, technically 2 years ago, but last year was really our first year that I was on the board during meetings. But I loved it. I loved the process. I loved just sort of, it works very well in my schedule, it's like nighttime meetings, you hop on Zoom, and just having sort of a say in town decisions and kind of where we head is, I think, very important. So it's always been an interest of mine.
What, you kind of hit on this, but what other attributes, what would you bring to this committee?
Yep. So so my resume actually is a little bit outdated now. I'm 3 weeks into a new role at a wealth management firm out of Dedham as a tax director. But prior to that, I was at Beacon Capital Partners for 2 years.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Which is,
They took off, huh? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
great company. It's, fast-paced environment, a lot of high-level work, a lot of transactions, especially in this market. The office market has obviously taken a bit of a dive since COVID, and it's now I think, slowly working its way back, but there's been a lot going on.
Are they involved in this conversion? Are they involved in conversion to residential?
Not currently.
No,
That
okay, I
may
don't know, I
be-
thought maybe they were part of that.
I don't know how much that's being considered over there. They've gotten into labs, so that's sort of a newer venture for them. And like other developers in the city and in the nation, it's just been sort of a tough time to get into it since COVID. So, anyways, long story short, I was at Beacon Capital for 2 years, and I have, probably 13 years of experience out of college. But all my experience has been very heavy accounting, budgeting, cash flow analysis, forward looking, as well as the typical accounting, which is looking backwards. So I think I have a good set of financial skills to bring to the town and offer some perspective.
You're not looking this as a stepping stone to some other political office, are you?
No, not really. I think, to be totally honest, maybe someday, like treasurer, but that's about it.
Okay.
Wakefield treasurer.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't have any political aspirations.
It's not one.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's not, one of the others. Just sometimes somebody be on, then boom, they're off to something else. So I
Oh,
always
yeah.
ask that, it's just, yeah.
No,
What are you gonna say? Yeah, do a year here and then I'm pulling papers.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
selectmen, yeah.
yeah,
All
no,
right, but I just kind of,
yeah,
almost a forewarning.
yeah,
Don't do that.
yeah. No, it's no, I love where I'm at career wise, and a big part of leaving Beacon and taking on this new role is the hours are a lot better and it's more remote, and so we have a third child on the way coming in April, so I think that lifestyle wise that fits in a lot better. But to answer your question, I don't see myself leaving this new role or private industry, for the foreseeable
Yeah.
future.
Right.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Yep.
Yeah, for now.
Are you familiar with the finance committee?
Yeah, sort of at a high level. A few of the things that I don't know too well is sort of like the cadence of meetings, the whole process of reviewing the budget and the finer details. But I know at a high level, it's, budgeting for the town and.
So I'll just give you a brief overview. So it's a 15-member committee, and we're we're sort of advisory and and involved in the process. The town administrator and the town department heads, work to create most of the budgets. We work with them to review the budgets. So at the finance committee level, we take more of a deeper dive, and we have subcommittees that will meet with town department heads and review their budgets. It's more about, you know, operational needs, the new budget requests, old budget changes, sort of looking at, you know, the current budget and the future needs and how that fits in with the available potential income that we have. So we do sort of a deep dive and an overview in involvement in the individual budgets, you know, department by department. And then from there, obviously they work with the town manager and others to prepare their budgets. A lot of what we look at and what we talk about is sort of operational things, you know, so we have a budget, kind of a spreadsheet environment that is a budget, you know, last year to this year, and it's got all of the appropriate items on there. You know, but we don't we don't present cash flow analysis. We don't do, you know, accounting like activities. However, you know, others do, the town accountants, and the town administrator, you know, look at that stuff. Town council is heavily involved as well when it comes to obviously the money and what's being allocated. But certainly we look at the income from last year, projected income coming for this upcoming fiscal year. Town management, town administrator, and others sort of try to set the framework for the department heads. The school committee and the schools are somewhat separate from the department, from the town administrators. Not to say they don't talk together, but the schools answer to the school committee. And then we're one of the only bodies that review and make a recommendation of the school budget to the town meeting. We are basically we do the background for town meeting. And when I get up at town meeting and say that I recommend favorable action, we've done all the background work to let people in town meeting know that we're okay, that this budget is going up 3.5%. We're okay with that. And that's what our not generally, it is what our role really is to present to town meeting our opinion about things so the people in town meeting have some other information to go on when they choose to vote on something.
Okay.
So, again, it's 15-member board. It's a very diverse board relative to the people's backgrounds, accountants, attorneys, engineers, different things like that. And that's sort of a little bit of who the finance committee is. And again, we make recommendations at town meeting, but ultimately the town meeting votes on it. We could make a negative recommendation or whatever we would choose to make, and it's up to town meeting. We try to just bring what we can to town meeting to let people know what we think. Town administration, you know, works with us and they present the budgets. And then we ask questions, we make recommendations, we agree or don't disagree, agree or disagree. Then later on, we vote on it. Town council votes on the budgets as well, before we vote on the final budgets. So town council obviously plays a key role in running the whole town and that sort of thing. So our role is like I said, it's at the committee level and reviewing things really, line by line on the budgets and sort of learning the why and helping people and pushing people to justify the why. So we go to town meeting and schools, the fire department needs 6%. You know, I get up there and say favorable action. It doesn't sound like much, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and then we can support that and talk about it if necessary at town meeting, depending upon the debate. And so that's a little bit about the finance committee.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah, I think so. Sorry if you mentioned it. What is the typical cadence of how often the committee meets?
Sure, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we have a tri-board meeting, which means, and Marion will talk about that, but the three departments, the three boards, town council, school committee, and us get together in the fall to try to sort of have a meeting together and sort of get on the same page. In the spring, the finance committee really kind of gears up. So we meet twice a month, usually on Thursdays, 6 o'clock via Zoom. Well, it's hybrid. We meet face to face, primarily downstairs, but it is hybrid. And we'll meet, twice a month, working through town administration. They present them a certain set of budgets at each meeting. We have some dialogue. We have a forecasting subcommittee where we are forecasting what we believe, things are going to look like in a forecasting model that we work off of. And town administration does it themselves as well. So it's twice a month, generally speaking, right up through the Springtown meeting.
Okay.
And so we do subcommittee work within all of that, additional meetings. Subcommittee work might be 8 o'clock in the morning, meeting with the department head, might be 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, meeting with the police chief a couple of times to review their budget more in depth about, you know, why do you need 3 more people? Why do you need 6 more cruisers? You know, kind of that level of detail.
Yeah.
And then the subcommittee brings it back to the bigger committee, usually give us a 1-page or 2-page write-up about what they found. And if the subcommittee agrees, it just helps lay the foundation for the bigger discussion with the board. Department head comes in and speaks, they leave. Towards the end of the process, we then go and vote on all of those budgets that we saw. We don't vote on them that night, we vote on them later on.
Okay.
And we have debate at that point. So it's important as a member to do homework early and keep the homework available for later, for when the final debate comes for the police department. And, you know, I don't agree on that, and we'll have that debate. And again, we vote on it. It's a majority vote.
Okay.
So that's the background, twice a month, more or less.
Okay.
And then we go to town meeting. You know, finance committee members don't have to go to town meeting, but certainly that I do, or the chair does, to speak on behalf of, but a lot of the finance committee members go to town meeting. So. All right, any
Great.
question on that?
No.
Relative to that commitment, you see any concern with that, meaning that spring commitment that I talked about?
No concern. Now that I'm in a tax role, you know, I'll be busier
Yeah.
in March and up
Yeah.
through April 15th, but
Mhm.
most of my work is going to be done at home. And even when I'm in the office, it's a more laid back environment. So I'll be home by 5
Mhm.
o'clock. So really no concern.
Mhm.
I don't know, the capital planning committee is sort of a similar cadence, but maybe less frequent, but
Yep.
that should work just fine for my schedule.
Good. Just so a subcommittee would be the forecasting subcommittee, the fire department subcommittee, the school subcommittee. Do you have any thoughts? Where would you find yourself that geez, if I got on, I'd love to serve in that committee?
I think off the top of my head, the forecasting committee might be a
Mhm.
nice fit, just to sort of get an idea of where things are going to be for the next 3 to 5 years. I'm not sure how far out in advance they forecast things. I think really any subcommittee would be interesting just to sort of get a little bit more in the weeds of how the fire department operates or the police department operates. If I had more experience in that line of work,
Sure.
not that I can't learn it, but I think
Yeah.
that might be more appropriate. But I think the forecasting sounds
Good.
very appealing. But also I'm, you know, part of the reason why I want to be on the finance committee and spend some time on these Wakefield committees is to sort of learn more of how the town works as well. So
Sure.
something else that I don't have experience in is not something I'd be afraid to step into.
Great, thank you. Good for now.
So I remember seeing your name on a box during capital planning. I don't think you had your camera on, that's why I didn't recognize you, but now I'm like, oh, I saw your name. So how did you think that committee went in your first year on it?
It was great. I really enjoyed it. I didn't really know what to expect. This was my first experience serving in any municipal committee or anything like that. But I loved really just the bigger picture. What was nice about the capital planning committee, which I think is maybe a less enhanced version of the finance committee,
Mhm.
is that you really get to see how the whole town works, and you get to meet with everyone and people in different departments and get to know people and understand sort of the needs. And you know, I think every committee is important, but I think what might be unique, at least my impression for the capital planning committee and the finance committee, is it's really full picture of the entire town, and you're not siloed to just school or something else. Or so, but I loved it. It was great, you know, working with the entire committee, and Phil is awesome and everyone else on there is great. And so it was very nice.
Yeah, I think it is one of the few committees that you get to like instantaneously, like you get to decide who gets money, and that's just a good feeling.
Yeah.
So it's a fun committee. Like it's actually one that I enjoy being the liaison to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just nice because you get to hear from all these different people, and you know, they'll explain, not to explain how it works to you, but you know,
Yeah.
what the needs are and
Right.
why. And so
Everybody's got a priority one.
yeah. It was interesting too, hearing from some of the people that had been on the committee for, multiple years and they'll say, oh, I wonder if they're gonna come back with this item again because, you know,
Because it didn't get funded before.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Um, where did you move here from?
Well, so I grew up in Norwell, Mass, on the South Shore, and then my wife and I met in college. So after college, we did the apartment thing. We did Quincy, Southie, slowly moved up to Malden, and then we bought a house in Wakefield.
You're being really optimistic, thinking from Dedham, you'll get here at 5 p.m.
It is so it's a very unique role. So they're headquartered out of Dedham. They also have an office in Portsmouth. So one of the things they liked about me was that I live in Wakefield
You
because
could go
I'm
to
in
Portsmouth.
between
Huh?
both of them. It's going to be mostly remote,
Yeah.
I would say. And that's how it's been so far. I'll kind of go in more on an as needed basis. So, but
And-
you're right, the traffic is awful.
I can't imagine doing that commute. I can go to Boston and that's it. Have you talked to your new company about this being a conflict or being able to serve on municipal boards?
A little bit. So we have something called Comply Sci, and it's basically like the compliance tool that they have where you report everything. It was similar setup to Beacon Capital as well, because they were also technically investment advisors, even though they do it at like the REIT level. But so both have been aware about my participation on the capital planning committee. So I don't know if there might be a difference with the finance committee, so I can certainly reach out to them and make sure.
It's just something I know in the past, sometimes it becomes an issue for some organizations, but if you've already told them about capital planning, it's probably fine. Just
Okay.
so you're aware that sometimes we've had people from kind of the finance banking places that get upset about that. So 3 years here, what do you see as the greatest strengths in town services?
Greatest strengths in town services. Well, as a father of 2 young kids, I would say like the community events are, I think, really sets Wakefield apart from the neighboring towns. And maybe it's just because I don't live in Melrose or Stoneham, but just our favorite thing to do is like the movies by the lake. And so last week we did the trunk or treat, and it's just the best. Like,
No, it is amazing, isn't it?
it's incredible. And
It's like, whoa, I've been here for 38 years now, and they used to, when they first had the festival by the lake, it was mobbed. Fireworks, and people were down putting their chairs 2-3 days before. I mean, forget the parade, that's an institution.
yeah,
But when they started that, and that event, I think spurred on these other ones. Like, in other words, they could be successful. It wouldn't be a waste of your time and effort to do those kind of things. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting you say that. Yeah.
and it's so nice too because for the trunk or treat, but also for the movies by the lake, to see all like the local businesses that are involved.
I'm on the board at CAT, and we just got a chunk of change for the movies. Whoever, I forget what the sponsor was, but they showed up and saw how successful it was. And at the end, usually you used to have to go hat in hand at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, please. They were like voluntarily just said, we're in again. It's,
Next year.
I forget who it was. It's, yeah.
It's a great event, and for us too, you have sort of a win-win. You have the vendors who are there giving out candy or doing face painting or bubbles or in the summer or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's good advertising for them, but then we're also happy and the kids are thrilled. And so I think the community events really set Wakefield
Yeah.
apart.
That's nice. Yeah.
And where do you see the greatest need in our town?
Greatest need. It's a good question. I think the greatest need in Wakefield, again, this is very specific to my life, but another preschool eventually. I know every year the Doyle's really at capacity, and the Yule School I know is sort of there under lease, and I don't know if it could ever be functional as a preschool once that lease is up. But the town is exploding population wise, as is everywhere. And I'm not sure what the capacity is like at the Galvin or at the high school or at the elementary schools, but I do know preschool is Doyle gets slammed with applicants and you're lucky if you can get in, and we feel lucky that we did. And so I think that could be something to.
Yeah, the Doyle has just been like over capacity since pandemic.
Yeah.
Like the classes have been pretty big since pandemic. So
Sure. Absolutely.
I think the superintendent definitely does the forecasting, and that is something that he has concerns about. I don't know if it's come back down since pandemic.
I heard.
Right? I don't know if it kind of peaked, and I'm not quite sure if it's come down.
I'm pretty
but-
sure they turned away again.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
My impression was that I think it was 2 years ago, it was the most they've ever turned away. And then last year, the number came down a little bit, but they still had to turn
Yeah.
people away.
Yeah, no, it's a great facility up there.
Yep.
My son lives in Charlestown and my grandson got in. You would think he got into Harvard.
Yeah.
And it's 2 blocks away, which is even,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing the effect it can have on your life and everything. If
Yeah.
you have a good
Yeah.
set.
And
Yeah,
the,
that's
the structure of him learning there is amazing. His vocabulary is like, stop. And there's some other, he has some other choice expressions he's picked up too, but.
From who?
No, not me, not me. No. I'm very good about that. Which house are you on, Montrose? Where are you?
We're 115, so we're right
Yeah.
next to that like National Grid utility road, right next to Stony,
On going out or coming back?
heading towards like 95 in Salem Street.
Okay, so you're right over, yeah, okay. So there's that new, well, it's relatively new,
The little new street there.
the new street there, yeah.
Yeah,
There's another-
for National
another
Grid.
Deep, no, there's that, and then there's the next street down coming back towards town is, yeah, there's 4 or
It's a
5
small
houses.
cul-de-sac, there's a 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'm trying to
cul-de-sac.
think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Steve Yossi
Right.
names it after one of his kids. I can't remember the name.
So you are right on
Family.
Montrose then, right before the National Grid.
Oh, nice.
Yes, yeah. Our house borders the
Yeah.
National Grid, which is nice.
That is kind of nice.
Yeah, because they don't do anything. It's just
No.
woods and
Right.
so.
Yeah. My friend lived in okay, so there's that new cul-de-sac and then there's the wall that they put up, that yellow house there. A really good friend of mine lived there. They moved to Florida, but that,
Nice.
when he first moved in here, he had 4 or 5 deer a day in the backyard.
Yeah, we see a lot of deer. We see a lot of coyotes too, which
Hmm.
doesn't really bother me as much because we have indoor cats. We don't have dogs, and they run around deeper in the woods, at least when we see them. So
I live down in
Wow.
Green. I live down in Green. We have a coy wolf.
Really?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It is a gorgeous animal. Looks like it could be in the Westminster Kennel.
Yeah.
My backyard, we have 2 sets of red tails hawks, which are made, came by yesterday. I was like, whoa. I had 41 turkeys in the backyard the other day. Wow. 4 deer, but we have a coy wolf. And when that howls at night, it's like Jack London, Call of the Wild. It's unbelievable. Thank you. Am I dating myself? That was required reading all the time. But it's amazing and they're gorgeous. 3 years ago for Thanksgiving, I came out and sat in the backyard for like an hour. And it was like entertainment. Big
Yeah.
puffy tail.
Mm.
But yeah, we got a Fisher cat now. Those are not very nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
the sounds they make are not pleasant either.
And the sound that the possums make when they get attacked by one is really chilling.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's amazing. I live on like a game farm,
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty wild, so.
lots of good.
But I know there's coyotes over there, cause
yeah,
we used to sit in his backyard and listen to them.
yeah. I think there's a den somewhere on that National Grid land
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
because
A lot of woods out there.
every morning they all run home and you hear them yipping at night. And
Yeah, that yappy, cause somebody said, it's a coyote. One of my neighbors, when we first found out, it's gotta be like 7, 8 years now that the coyotes, this coy wolf is like, whoa, you're like, oh yeah, it's so cool. Yeah,
yeah.
Any
My
questions?
wife's always like, stop cheering at 2 a.m. for the coy wolf. I'm like, okay, no, all right, I'll stop.
Can I just ask, have you been to a town meeting since coming to Wakefield?
Not in person. No, that's something I should do for sure.
Yeah.
I've watched a few on YouTube and after the fact. But yeah.
We have it Saturday, 8 a.m. at the Galvin Middle School.
That's
So
good.
good,
Not
it's
required
good.
reading, but
it's,
yeah.
no, but it's good for people, I think, to go to something
Yeah.
as they get more involved. So it should be a short one according to Bill.
Yes.
But yeah, do you have any questions for us?
Um, trying to think off the top of my head, I feel like, everything was covered really well with the cadence and what the committee does. Well, actually, how long is the term? The 3
The-
years?
3-year terms.
3-year term. Okay.
Yes. Unless you're picking up an open term, somebody leaves.
Right.
Yeah.
How are subcommittees determined? Are they,
Yeah, so subcommittees, again, say you have a fire department subcommittee and the DPW subcommittee. If a new member joins, I've been the chair for a little while. I won't be the chair forever, but normally I always send out a request to all the body, here's what we did last year. If you want to change, let me know. If you want to do something different. And, silence is consent. If you don't give me anything, I'll do what I want. And if you have a preference, they tell me. New members, I like to look at their background to see where if there was a clear good fit and ask new members as well. But at the same time, new members, it's good to get on whatever we put them on to just begin to see and understand. But if somebody was an engineer for the DPW and they really wanted to be on the DPW subcommittee, well then fine. But but again, we have accountants, attorneys, actuaries, engineers,
Lawyers.
many lawyers. Sorry, that's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
And CFO types for hospitals, and so it's a diverse background of people.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's a good group. So the subcommittees sort of rotate. If you stayed on for 8-9 years, you'll be on each time. You'll probably be on 2 subcommittees if you as a member, sometimes 3. And then they probably you get 6 other meetings, and like I say, some of those could be in the morning and working with department heads. So
okay,
yeah.
great.
Anything else?
Do you see that a lot of committee members stay on for a long time, past 3 years, or
Yes.
a little of everything, I'm sure?
Yeah, in general, the people get on. We have some very long-term members. I don't even know how long I've been on, probably 13 years or something like that, but that's not as long as a lot of people. But at the same time, we do have turnover. We have people, life things, moving, different things happen. And people, a lot of times the people peel off because of they get on at a certain point in their life, and then something changes in their lives and business life, and they move on. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, change is healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep. And I'll see you, if nothing else, on the capital planning.
Capital planning.
Yes.
No, that'll pick up again soon.
Yes.
Thanks so much for coming in. Is
Nice
it another girl? Do you
don't
know?
know
You
yet,
don't know.
So
And you don't want to know?
I don't want to know.
Yeah, that always, yeah.
With our oldest, I didn't want to find out. And then the OBGYN messed up and they printed it at the top of the test results.
Oh,
Only like 12 weeks in.
Oh, you wrecked it.
So they wrecked it and we found out. And then with our second, she's like exactly 2 years younger. So we said, let's find out, because if it's a girl, we don't have to do much. If
Yeah.
it's a boy, we'll have to
Right.
paint a room, get some clothes.
Sure.
So this is the last hurrah and I don't want to find out.
Good for you.
It's a win-win either way.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Very much.
Great.
Thank you, Bill.
Nice meeting you. Yeah.
Nice to meet you
You
too.
too. Thanks.
See you.
Okay, we're gonna sign
Your
off.
motion to go to exec session?
Yeah.
Yes. Second.
Seconded.
Yeah.
All in favor?